Sigrun, welcome in this exclusive interview.
Thank you for having me, Janet. It is a true pleasure to be on with you here today. And you are in Gran Canaria, I believe, and I am in Iceland. So we are, on the opposite ends of the world almost, but I think
Oh,
we're in the same time zone.
so it's 1 o'clock here.
Yeah.
Good, same time zone.
Yeah.
That's easy. Just the temperature here, it's like 26, 27 degrees.
I'm not a little bit jealous because we have 7 here, which is high for November in Iceland.
Yeah, it's November. Yeah.
Yeah.
But okay. You chose to live there, didn't you?
I choose.
Yeah,
I live in 2 places and I choose to be here to spend some time with friends and family. But
Exactly.
I'm jealous of the weather where you are.
Yeah, so I chose to live here because of my health, because my asthma is really, it's much better here. And I just love this climate, like 25, 26 degrees.
Yes, it's perfect.
But let's talk business.
Yes, and not just weather.
And not just weather. So, and I know that business is, it's probably one of your true loves. You have a few, like you have a husband and family and friends.
I do have a husband, I do have family, but he will probably agree with you that this is my passion and love and baby and business and all in one.
Yeah.
I live and breathe what I do.
Yeah.
And if someone asks me how many hours do you work, I'm like, I don't know. What do you define as work? Because sometimes it's not really about the hours. It's like you're thinking. I'm constantly thinking how can I inspire women to actually go for it, to follow their dreams. I'm reading something. I'm even reading the news and still thinking like how this is relevant for business and women. And I am listening to podcasts, and maybe I'm watching a TV show and I'm thinking, oh, I want to watch this TV show because it has a female in the main role and not just. So yes, I live and breathe this, and so love to chat about anything that helps women start a business of their own, which I think it's our true path to gender equality.
Yeah. So that's like your mission.
Yeah.
And I know that. So it's deep in your identity, as I would say, it's deep in your identity.
Yes.
If we talk about identity, is there a moment in your career? So I prepared some questions because I love to talk about identity shifts, and I always need to prepare those questions because otherwise we just talk about the weather.
Yes.
Not going to do that. But is there a moment in your career or in your business where you really had to reinvent yourself? I know you talk about it with your clients, but also during this interview, was there a turning point? Were there insights? Were there people that helped you make this breakthrough?
Well, I think I have shared with many people that I have 4 master's degrees. And it's not because I was on this academic path and I wanted to study so much. It was actually that I realized, even though I followed my dream and studied what I wanted to study, I realized maybe at some point it was not what I wanted. And I think that's the first thing to kind of to own that, because we have a common friend who studied something, and years later she was still working on that topic, even if she didn't love it, because she didn't give herself permission to switch. And it could be society or how you were brought up, and maybe someone said something, whatever, maybe parents, you saw parents study something, but this is completely outdated concept. That you learn something with age of 16 or 20 or 25, and then you have to do that for the rest of your life. So I think that's the first thing you need to throw away. And give yourself permission, no matter how you've been brought up or what people think, and even what your spouse or family and friends think today. We all have permission to change our dreams. Maybe something that was a dream, it's just no longer my dream. So that was the first shift for me. I had been studying architecture, and I realized 2 years before graduation that it was not my true passion. And I shifted more into computer science, but I'm still I try to be a finisher. I think I'm probably not the best finisher in the world, because typical entrepreneurs are not. We are good starters and horrible.
We're very good starters, yeah.
Yes. But something, of course, made me feel like, okay, I've spent so many years studying, I'm going to finish it. So I think that's the first shift, to allow yourself to. And my mother was so disappointed. She couldn't believe that I wouldn't do this as a job.
Yeah. But I mean, everyone around you will be disappointed. They all will be disappointed.
Yeah. We will always disappoint. No matter what we do, there's somebody going to be disappointed. But it's not about them; it's about you.
Yeah, and that's true. I mean, a lot of people give you an identity, like you are the daughter, or you are the successful woman, or whatever, and you're like, that's not my identity. You gave it to me, but I want something else. Yeah.
No, so
I
would say
that's a nice bridge to the.
I was lucky at the time that I was brave enough to realize I'm not gonna follow other people's perception of me. I'm gonna follow my new dream. So yeah.
And that's a nice bridge to the second question. What was the most surprising personal breakthrough you experienced as an entrepreneur, and how did it influence your coaching approach and your vision? Something you would never, you would never thought of before. I want
to take you back before I was an entrepreneur. I think one of the bravest things I did was 21 years ago. I made a phone call and asked to be a CEO of a software company I was just an employee of. And again, my mother thought, I shouldn't go for it. I also thought, I don't have the education. I don't have the experience. Like, who am I to think that I can run a software company? And I don't know anything about this. I've not studied it. I had worked 1 year in the company, but something was calling me in my head, or like, this voice, you can imagine something is sitting on your shoulder and it just talks to you. And I start to kind of like, no, this is a crazy idea. I don't have the experience. I don't have the education. And again, I think about a common friend who did finally realize she didn't have to do what she had studied for the rest of her life. She could actually do something else. And then she picked a new path without having the experience and without
having the degree. Yeah.
Crazy things. So
I
picked up the phone after trying to throw this idea away, and the man on the other end who owned the company, he was so impressed. Sometimes we surprise other people when we finally go after our dreams without experience and without education, that he wanted me to have the job and gave me then the mentoring and support. One of the things I had no clue about, for instance, was the accounting or the financial side of the business. But he owned a company doing bookkeeping, and he moved them from wherever they were into the next office. So I could get, there are crazy things can happen when you just go after your dreams and say, hey, I want this. And other people are so impressed and say, okay, maybe you not got everything you need, but you got the passion and you got the courage to ask for it. So I would say that's a pre-entrepreneurial thing. But this phone call, if I had not made that phone call, I wouldn't be where I am today.
No,
I'm absolutely
I can
convinced.
see that. Yeah, I can see it. And then you also talk about, like Adam Grant calls it, hidden potential, because the man, the other guy, he could have thought, well, nice phone call, Sigrun, nice try, but no.
Yeah,
this is a no. So there was something in you, like this hidden potential, and I see it in a lot of my clients as well. There is something, but it's very hard to get it out. Yeah.
I call it a rough diamond. You know, the
Yes.
one you haven't,
Yeah.
made pretty. And I can
Yeah.
see this in other people as well. I can see it in people that join my programs, and I'm like, oh, this one has potential. They have something.
Yeah.
But, it takes time, and it can mean that you have to go through ups and downs and make some tough choices and decisions, and until you get there to that point. Yeah. So I would say this was a professional pre-entrepreneur shift. In my business, I think the shift was like to allow myself to grow. That was
explain a little bit more about allowing yourself to grow, because it's like a nice sentence, but what does it really mean?
Yeah. I think a lot of women, and this has been proven by data, most women go into entrepreneurship because of freedom. And you are the best example, Janet. You're living a freedom life. The same for me. I've decided to split my time between Iceland and Switzerland. And we sometimes have some reasons. It could be family, health, whatever, but freedom is the word that encompasses it all. That
exactly.
Is the reason. And we don't go into business to be millionaires or, start up the next Google or Facebook necessarily. Women tend to go more for smaller businesses. And then our first goal is to just have enough income so we can live that freedom life. Like, we're not looking for necessarily more. And I think this is a very good reason to get started. I think if you want to change the world,
just get started.
Yeah. So I think it's okay to have a smaller goal and say, hey, I just want to replace my previous income, or I just want to have enough so that I can, spend a vacation 3 months over there, if that's your dream, or whatever your dream is. So you find that number, whatever it is, and then we go after that goal. But then we reach that goal. And then we have to ask ourselves, do I want more?
Yeah.
And why do I want more?
Yeah.
And this becomes, I see women struggle with this because they feel like, well, I don't need more. So who am I to have more or get more? And why should I strive for more? And I had this wake-up call, where I was like, it's got to be bigger than me. It's not about me anymore. Yeah. Now, the vision you have before is just like my little world, and making sure I'm safe and my family and friends and all, do that stuff. But when you see you have more potential, I think I'm on a mission, and I hope I can inspire more women to think bigger.
Yeah.
Because when it's no longer about you, that's when we can have true impact. When we can say, I am doing this to impact gender equality, or I want to help 100 women do this, or I want to help 1,000 women, or 100,000 or 1 million, whatever number, you make it pretty high, but not crazy high. One of my clients, he is in the health, nutrition certification business. And she decided one day, after discussions like this, to say, okay, I'm going to impact 1 million people. But when she did the calculation, if she certifies 100 people and each of them works with 10 people, like the 1 million people were so fast reached that now she said, I have to make my goal 10 million, because every time I certify more people, they're going to impact more people. So this is the ripple effect of her going after her dream and no longer thinking, well, I'm going to offer 20 one-on-one nutrition sessions per week, and I'm going to help this small pool of people. Now I'm coaching and certifying experts. And they can, so she is creating copies of herself, basically. And then she can have true impact. And I think if you've not been brought up thinking like this,
we haven't.
No, we haven't. I was
No.
not brought up thinking like this. My parents had a business, but it was a very small business, and we were just like, it was a dry cleaning, and just, you know, the impact
Local, yeah.
and no impact beyond the little town it's in, and there was never this thinking that, can I change the world? And I even feel a little bit like, whew, in the heart now thinking about it, like, can we do that? Can I do that? Like, am I allowed? And I think that's another massive shift. And I'm still in it, you know. There are phases. There are phases you go through, having had 100 clients, you know, like, wow, 100 clients. And now I've had 8,000 clients in 11 years. And I'm like, let's get to 10,000 quickly. 10,000, you know, me 10 years ago, I could never have imagined that.
No, not for that.
No, but it's allowing myself to make this bigger than myself.
Yeah, and that's a good shift also in your focus. It's not about you, it's about getting the other people in movement as well.
Yeah.
Which is also like third question. I love my questions, so I want you to answer the questions. It's about this identity. So we have an identity, and we maybe want to shift our identity to become more successful or more powerful or more impactful. But how do you maintain your identity if you don't have the achievements yet? Like, it's like you really want to be this 6-figure business owner or 7-figure business owner, but you're not there yet.
Yeah.
How do you help your clients with that?
This is it's a challenging one, because we often associate our worth with revenue, or even before, when we were earning something, we associate our worth with the salary we get. And we have to learn, and I know this is not so easy, nobody's gonna suddenly shift just now. We have to detach our worth from this. And I had to learn this when I got sick for 7 months. This was before I became an entrepreneur. And I sit on the sofa for 7 months. Well, I went for daily walks, but the rest of the day I was sitting on a sofa. And who am I? You know, I don't have a job right now. I didn't have a job. I didn't have a salary. Well, I was getting some payments, obviously, like for sick leave. But, you know, I'm sick. Is that my worth? Like, is this who I am? And then you realize, no, it's not. Like, I'm Sigrun, and I stand for this, and this is what I believe in, and this is what I've done in the past, and this is what I still do. But, you know, my self-worth cannot be what is coming in right now. I think you have to shift into the being of what the future version of yourself.
Yeah.
And the best example for this is MrBeast.
Oh, MrBeast, yeah.
Yes. MrBeast. I had no idea who. I don't watch YouTube so much.
It's
so
YouTube. It's the biggest YouTuber, I think. At the moment.
Biggest YouTuber. He has 340 million subscribers.
Which is
so. I think he is really the biggest one, biggest impact.
Yeah.
And he has the best lesson in identity shift that I've seen. So hold your horses. He was 17 years old when he recorded a video of himself and spoke back to himself. He pretended to be 6 months into the future, 12 months, 5 years, and 10 years. And he was, I think he had maybe, I don't know if he had 1,000 followers or 3,000 followers when he made that video. And he was doing gaming, you know, when you film yourself when
Yeah.
He was not doing what he does today.
It's very popular. Yeah.
Very popular. Yeah. So back in the days, he was this average teenage computer geek filming himself as he's playing
while doing a video game. Yeah.
and talking over it. So there's nothing in his identity that would indicate that he would become the person he is today. That's why this is so interesting. But he must have had some sort of a inspiration, influence. I don't know if he read a book, probably not. He probably watched the video or whatever.
Yeah.
For some reason, he recorded a video and he's looking very geeky and whatever. And he just says in the video, I'm recording this video on this date. I'm imagining now it's whatever, 6 months into the future. And I have 100,000 subscribers. Now, I think he said like 10,000 subsubscribers.
Yeah.
So 6 months.
Yeah.
10,000 subscribers or whatever. And I'm doing this. And then he's even a little bit not sure of himself. Like in the video, it's very like, well, I hope I have it, because he schedules the video. He schedules the video to be released publicly.
Yeah.
So it's not just that he's recording it for himself. Whoever is going to see the video and compare his results, well, he's going to be embarrassed if he hasn't reached the number he was going to reach, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think it was 10,000 or something.
Yeah.
It's a long time since I read the story, but it really changed everything for me personally and for my clients, which I shared with, who heard the story from me. And then he did the 12 months or whatever. And by him doing that, he shifts his identity into the future.
Yeah.
And he becomes his future self almost on the spot. And he stopped doing the computer geeky videos and started to think, if I am the person that has 100, he wanted 100,000 followers or whatever, and maybe 1 million followers in 5 years or whatever. He overreached all his goals ahead of time.
Yeah.
So he is his future self. And then he sits down. Okay, I'm my future self. What would my future self do? Not record boring computer game videos where I speak over myself playing some computer game. He started to reinvent his videos because of those videos of himself in the future. And
because of the goals he put himself. For us, it would be the same as, who am I? Like, I don't know, 12 months from now, making the 6 figures. Who am I? What do I do? What do I don't do? Like, and that's very powerful. Yeah.
That's very powerful. And when you kind of do it very seriously, like we could just sit here alone and I could make something up, but often it is maybe in a group of people, maybe with your coach or in a mastermind, which I know you run, masterminds. If you do it like a collective exercise and speak it out loud. And one of my clients is a blogger, and her blog is scheduled to go out. That's the cool thing. If you are,
she did the exercise.
Yeah. Did the exercise.
Yeah.
Blog post is scheduled into the future.
Yeah.
And it just starts with, and it's often cool what he did. He went to his YouTube channel and showed, this is the status today. And I'm now 6 months in the future, and I will have reached X amount of subscribers on my channel. Oh my God, can I achieve that? I don't know. I better do it. I better do it. He's talking to himself. But this is what we can do. This is, if MrBeast can do it, and anyone else who has tried this is like magic. You go into the future and say, I'm a 6-figure online entrepreneur. And you think to yourself, what decisions do I take? Who do I hire first? Or who do I not hire? Or do I hire in the first place? Yeah, maybe, because if I'm a 6-figure entrepreneur, I need help with this and that. Do I invest in this program? What would I do if I'm in the future? Well, yes, I do, because if I'm a 6-figure entrepreneur, I do invest in myself because I want to make progress, and I don't have, time to figure it all out on myself.
On your own,
And it goes on. And like, do I go daily on social media? It goes really all these decisions.
Yeah. And I love that. Yeah, you were a bit blurry. But
Yeah,
there
my
you are
camera.
again. Yeah, there you are again.
Yeah.
That brings us to, because of your time also, very respectful of your time, of course, the last question. I mean, I have a fifth one, but only if you have time.
Yeah.
So this question about your Samba Kickstart program. So your program puts your students in like a very strict regime of do this, do that. You don't have time to think, just do it. Which I love because people finish it, and that's really important those days. But what
Yeah.
have been some of the most remarkable breakthrough moments from from your participants? What have you seen, and what have you learned from being the mentor of the guide, like guiding these identity shifts?
Yeah. Yeah, we do have a little bit of time. So
Okay.
I just want to go back. I was teaching, like most people are teaching, online programs.
Yes.
And I had a wake up call after doing that for some time and realized, why do I have so few people that are actually doing the work, or at least that I knew of having success?
Yeah.
And normally when people have success, they would let me know. So I was like, what's going on? And then I read a blog post that the finish rate of online courses is anywhere between 8 and 15%, and much more. Yeah, let's say most likely 10% of people finish an online program. And I'm like, what? And then I thought of all the people that had some success. And I'm like, I look at all the students, I'm like, probably I have created one of these programs myself. And this was a huge shock to me. I think I wanted to be a teacher when I was like 8. And then, of course, I didn't choose that path. But I guess there's this teacher in me, like, and also my values. I told you before, I studied architecture and I decided not to become an architect, but I still finished. And I think it's a strong value for me. And maybe because I know how hard it is, because I am a starter and I'm not a finisher. Maybe that makes it an even stronger value to help people finish what they start.
Yeah.
Because if they're like me, yes, they need some help to finish what they start.
Yeah.
And turns out a lot of people didn't even get started in the first place, or they just watched videos and didn't do anything.
Yeah, so that they consume. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this happens with so many programs. And I was very upset. And I realized if there's anyone who can change it, it's me. Like, it's not the student's fault. It's probably I need to change the program. And I came up with a program now called Samba Kickstart. But back in the days, I just called it Samba Summer School.
I know. I remember. Yeah, I remember. Yeah.
And, you know, and people create their first or next online course. And if they've created an online course before, they just create another one. Anyway, the program is designed with just the information you need every week. So there's no overwhelm, no overthinking. There are very clear deadlines so that you don't fall into perfectionism and start to try to do things that you actually don't need to finish. And I got 90% completion rate. And I was like, wow. And then, of course, the program has evolved over the years. It went from 8 weeks to 13 weeks. And because of the way that I've designed the program, which now is proven to work in a way that, you know, 90% still today, after running this program now for 5 or 6 years, whereas other online programs still have only 10%. We don't have any unnecessary information.
Nope.
We are strict on the deadlines, and we follow up. We personally reach out to people that look like they're falling behind, and we help them get back on track and finish. So you're asking about the identity shift. The side benefits is the beauty. So you are doing. You are creating things, and you're doing what you're being told to do, and you deadlines. But it's all this magic that happens to a person that goes through this process. You know, you're fighting your own internal demons.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I sent out an email and there was a typo, or this worksheet is not as pretty as I wanted it to be,
everything. Yeah.
went live, but the recording wasn't saved. Who knows? Can happen. All things. But suddenly it's like, it's okay. It's okay. It doesn't need to be perfect. I'm still here. I survived. I didn't die.
And probably you have happy clients. You have happy participants.
Happy clients.
Yeah.
And you realize that your bar is over here, but your client's bar is here. And you just constantly, this is why a lot of women, I must say, keep themselves stuck, because they don't want to do something until they have a certification.
Oh yeah.
Remember, no experience,
Yeah.
no education, you can still go for it. And then let's say they still decide to go for it without education and experience. It's about having everything perfect. But the thing is, that's not what matters. It matters you can say something, people can hear you, and your audience, your participants, your clients, they are having shifts, they are having a transformation, and that's all that matters. And so this is the big identity shift, which you don't really kind of say people up front, oh, you're going to have this identity shift.
No. It's not sexy to sell identity shifts.
Sexy.
I know.
And no one would buy it. Oh, you're going to be a different person after this program.
Oh, yeah,
it's a beautiful, I think what is for me so wonderful. It's like you have done something collectively together, and you're like, oh, I'm at the finish line. I did all these things. And when you actually realized you did all these things, you start to believe you can do anything.
Yeah. And I mean, I've joined several times, and it is the beauty of the combination of exhaustion, because they are exhausted after 13 weeks of doing all the work, and the pride, like, oh yeah, I did it, I did finish, and oh, I have these amazing testimonials, and my clients are happy. And I didn't score a 9 or a 10 or whatever.
No.
Yeah, I really like that.
Oh yeah, it's been all a side benefit. When I designed the program originally, I did not realize those identity shifts would happen, or these mindset shifts. I didn't design it as a mindset program. And we don't even need to talk about mindset. But the thing is, when we do something, not just think about it, when we actually do something and we step out of our comfort zone and we do it again and again and again, suddenly our perspective of the world becomes bigger, and we realize we can do amazing things.
Yeah. And that's for me, that's the foundation of identity shifts. You cannot think yourself into new identities. You have to go out into the world and do it. Yeah. Well, if you have time, we have time for the last question. Yeah. That's about standing out in a very competitive market. So I work in Dutch normally, in the Netherlands, which is a very competitive market. And I think if you work in English, you also are in a competitive market. How can you use your identity as a foundation of either your offer, your strategy, or like who you are?
And this is a very good question. I'm going to bring a very recent example. So we are preparing a big marketing campaign in the team, and I wanted to question everything. Like I create this big strategy document with all the things. And when you launch a program only once a year, you also kind of take time and say, do we want to do any changes to the program or any changes to the offer or whatever? And I had like a lot of things that I just wanted to kind of throw up and maybe do something completely different to what we've done before. And it's interesting. I brought up example. I'm not going to say exactly what it was, but I'm like, how about we do this? I say to the team, and there was 11 people in the room. It was an actual physical meetings. And there was just no.
Like unanimous?
Unanimous no. And it's so good because our values, my values, and now they are company values, are so clear that even if I drift away and suggest something that I see maybe someone else do and I think, oh, we should maybe do it too, but it's not aligned with the values that I've integrated into the team, it's just like, no.
And do you listen to them
Yes,
at that
yes,
point?
yes,
Okay, yeah.
yes, yes.
Okay, yeah.
I do. When it's anonymous, no. If it would be half, maybe I would have taken a decision. But the thing is, I realized when I realized that only 10% of people finish online programs, and I was able to design a program with a 90% completion rate, it becomes a value of the whole company.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's what we stand for. We help people finish. And it goes so deep. Sometimes I'm like, God, somebody on my team worked on a Wednesday evening or Sunday afternoon just to help a client with something. And I'm like, yes, we also need to make sure there's work-life balance, but it's so ingrained in the team to make sure people finish. And this trickles also into our offers. I've had strong belief in lifetime access is a lie.
Yeah.
Because I was watching a launch recently, and I had this, I probably knew it before, but when the person constantly said, yeah, but you have lifetime access, I was like, it's just a sales strategy. It doesn't help them finish.
No, lifetime access
my values.
It's procrastination.
It gives the client the idea they can do it later, but they will not do it later, and therefore you are not doing them a favor.
No.
And when people use this strategy, then you're just trying to sell. You actually don't care about your clients.
That's good.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. No, and I know it's better to have access for like a few days or a few months, depending on what you need.
Yeah, whatever the program needs. We give typically 12-month access, even to a 13-week program. But I'm very clear on, like, you got to do it now.
You have to do the work.
You're not going to do it later on your own.
No, you have to do the work.
That's the others.
Yeah, that's true. Is there a last message for the viewers and the listeners or people who watch?
I would just say, follow your dreams. I think that's the most important one. As we age, Janet and I, we are maybe older than we look.
Yeah, that's why I stay here. It keeps me a little bit younger. Yeah, no, it's true.
It becomes more and more clear with every year in my life is that I don't want any regrets.
No.
And whether that is starting a business or scaling a business or starting to live in two places, follow that dream and start to follow it now. We don't know how long we live, and we might, get sick or whatever might happen to us. And I don't not want to have regrets.
Yeah. And also allow yourself to experiment. So don't call it failures, but allow yourself to have the experience of starting something new or exciting. And then it's like,
doesn't mean that you have to do it forever.
No.
I went to a hot air balloon. I don't want to go again, but I did it, and now I don't have to regret it.
Yes, I did it once too, and I was like, yeah, this is nice, but that's it.
But I don't need to do it again. Yeah. No. But there are many other dreams, and one of them could be starting a business or scaling it up so that you have true impact, and then go ahead and do that.
Yeah. How about playing golf in Gran Canaria?
For instance.
Good. It's always a pleasure to talk, and I know we can talk for hours, but we're not going to do that now.
Yeah.
Thank you for joining us, and I will check the highlights and share them again and again, because I think it's good to hear the strong messages again and again and again, and then say, yeah, got you. I'm going to do that.
Yeah. Great.
Good.
It's been a pleasure. Okay.
Bye-bye. Bye.